Hello, everyone. Welcome to Women Without Children, Own Your Story. We're here once again, and this time Chantel and I are speaking on belonging. This has been our theme in our group for this past month, the month of June 2021, in case you're watching later down the road. And each month we have a beautiful theme that we use to create and just invite in whatever energies want to come in to support us during that time. So this month is on belonging, and belonging as women without children. And that can bring up a lot of triggers and point us towards the direction of where we may need some healing or could invite in some healing. What do you have to say on that, Chantal?
Well, like you said, it was actually a really powerful month from when we decided we would do this. Because I realized, and I know this is going a little bit off track, it was about being a woman without children, but I realized where else I hadn't felt I belonged either. So I think with the topics that we're talking about, and even though at the moment we're talking for women or with women without children, it's what I'm finding interesting is, of course, it relates to so many, and I'm getting responses back from so many women as well. And I love that. And this is what we wanted to create, is these conversations around being a woman, even though we keep talking about our own experiences. So I've had a really interesting time. What did belonging mean for me? And I realized that it never occurred to me how I didn't belong as a woman without children. I felt I hadn't belonged in other areas of life because of my upbringing, not only in the home, but also living in different countries with different languages. I always felt, as they say in German, because that's my second language, is die Fremde. But never really occurred to me in my awareness how I didn't belong in our society. So I just kept going. But I somehow knew I didn't fit it in, but I thought it was because I felt different because of my experiences, not because I was a woman without children. That is what took me by surprise. And wow, you know.
Exactly. And I agree. There have been instances throughout my life where I wasn't married yet, and all of my other friends had married. And so I felt like I didn't belong in those spaces. And then once I started having my miscarriages, and other adult friends were having birthday parties for their kids, that really triggered me deeply in where I felt like I did not belong. And of course, there's many other experiences, but that's the fun of it. That's the fun of having a theme and delving in and not knowing where we're going to go with it, and letting it all rise where it wants to.
And I think that's a wonderful thing, what I love about what we are doing and who we are as this together, us, but also as individuals. You don't know what's going to arise. I thought I dealt with some things. Clearly, I haven't. You know, I never occurred to me, as I said, that I didn't belong in the conversation, because I would just remove myself, or I wasn't asked, or there was no room to be asked because I didn't know how I could contribute. And in some ways you can't contribute because you haven't had a child. So I get that. But I could have perhaps contributed in other ways. So I think this is why these conversations are so powerful, is how do we create words around it? How do we create conversations around it? How can we all feel included in this and give us all a sense of belonging? You know, so what I'm hearing as well from my friends or women we've been speaking to on Facebook or through social media is sometimes they don't feel like they belong as a mother, because perhaps they don't, they want to teach their children in a different way, homeschool or Montessori, or they want to not have children on with mobiles and social media. And how do you stand firm in your own sense of self? How do you stand firm and feel you belong within? That was my biggest thing this month, was that how to belong within and come from that space of my own belonging.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that was my biggest lesson for this month, is the inner belonging, letting go of maybe what my beliefs have always been that maybe weren't true, or maybe were true for a time, but are they now?
Yes.
And different experiences in which I felt like I didn't fit in, but really maybe I did. but I
Yes.
didn't open myself up
Yeah.
to allow myself to belong. I might have closed myself down in protection when really I could have opened myself up and I probably would have belonged. But a lot of this month for me was bringing up fresh awarenesses of my own inner belonging. And that's empowering.
It is apparent because you can see the world in a different way, because let's face it, there might be some areas where it's appropriate for us not to belong, or for me not to belong, or it might be I actually don't want to belong. And I think while I was always chasing this need to belong, I'm looking back now, I would chase in the wrong areas, or I'd have this sense of neediness, or they know better than me, or they know more than me, and it's really been interesting to see how insidious it is. I just so wanted to belong in my life somewhere. And then when it became my business, because that is my life in many ways, well, I'm learning to see it differently. I wanted to belong to a women's group, or I wanted to belong to that cohort. I wanted to belong, to create a connection with anyone, because I could see that I could. Didn't mean that they wanted to or not. That's been the hardest thing to go, excuse me, but it was because I really needed to have this sense of belonging. It was so strong and powerful in me that I didn't realize. See, that's how it affected me in my business. So, I created some inappropriate or not inappropriate or unwise collaborations that one blew up in my face, one I caught in time, because I really wanted that sense of belonging. And it was really interesting because with that sense of belonging, actually one story I may share was I overrode my intuition, or such a need to be able to share of my life and create this support for people and be part of that this girl who took over a foundation that I became a director of, I just knew deep down there was something not right, and she'd never give us the financials, which is meant to. Fortunately, my beautiful mentor, who's since died, which I still have emotions around, but that because he gave me a sense of belonging. He always believed in me. He was an older gentleman and I loved him. He kept saying to me, you've got to get out of this now. Otherwise, you'll be held liable if it goes wrong. Anyhow, I finally got out, and then I got a call quite a while later, 18 months later, from a detective. And it was on New Year's Day, and we just had this bad news with Willem and his health, my partner. So, of course, I panicked. And she said, no, you've done nothing wrong. I said, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about had something happened to my partner. So anyhow, I said, no, we are asking you, would you be willing to be a witness? Because the CEO had actually money fraud. And eventually she was convicted. Yeah. So what was interesting was that my sense of belonging and that neediness took me down this path where I then overrode my intuition. I kept putting it aside, what she was doing. And it was only when my business mentor said to me, get out. So why I'm sharing that is, it was just, that's how strong it can be, that to be part of something bigger than yourself, to give meaning to your life, to give purpose. Because there I didn't matter if I was a woman without children. I was a woman with an experience around trauma, and I could support these people through the work and who I am. So see, these are the things that come up. And there's a second one, which I won't go into, but something similar. Again, similar type of person, it's my own need, but this time I got out. In fact, she unceremoniously dumped me. So even though at the time I was outraged and upset and incensed, but there was this, oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Because I heard a few things since about what's happening with the group and why. And there's no judgment there or disrespect to them. What I'm sharing is, it's me. It was my need that I overrode what was actually happening there for me, because of my sense of belonging was so strong. There was a huge need in me.
I think that's actually a really good point, and one that we could go on and discuss, more down the road maybe, is that sense of belonging that we feel that we have to be a part of something or someone or an organization so badly to have that need to belong that we override our own intuition. I think that is really, really big. And this is a topic that probably many men and women alike could relate to. That I really, you brought up some fresh thoughts for me on that, and instances in my life where I've had that experience as well. That's really a big one. Wanting to belong so much that it overrides your own intuition and takes you off course, when normally if you felt strong, felt that inner belonging, that sense of groundedness within yourself, belonging within yourself, you would see all those danger signs ahead of you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And I didn't even expect that to come up. It only just popped in. So isn't it interesting? So clearly it was meant to, because you're right. Yeah. It's amazing, because that's, for me, the words I used for me is where not only did I not belong, but I didn't feel confident in myself. I knew it was happening, but I didn't trust myself. I didn't know how to step out and go, no. So since that's happened, and I've just realized also with what's been happening in our world, and last year, I had to step into the unknown. I had to step into the unknown with faith. And you've just given me a beautiful realization. I've been working a lot more with my intuition, which is now giving me that sense of belonging. And within me, powerful. Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you. Oh, this has been, as always, we always end up with something. Ladies, or those of you who are watching, gentlemen.
Beautiful nugget.
Beautiful nugget here for both of us, but for you too, and just giving you food for thought. As like you said, Tracey, where else have you done that? In your own personal life, with family, friends, business, because this is what it's all about, is creating conversation. Because I didn't talk about that. I didn't know how to, I didn't want to, I didn't think it was appropriate to, whereas now we can do it. But we need, again, I realized I share that because I feel safe to now. I feel comfortable with it. It's done. I'm not breaking any taboos or walking on any doing something I'm not meant to do. See, because we couldn't talk about it, particularly when the case was going along. I knew stuff that I perhaps shouldn't have known, but that's okay, because then I just learned I don't need to say anything. And that gives you a sense of courage and strength as well. I knew my truth.
It does.
I knew my truth.
Exactly. So very true that there are moments in time where we need to speak. Yes. and speak of our own belonging, of our own courage, of our own intuition. And there are moments, for the sake of our own belonging and courage and intuition, we need to be quiet. So
exactly. That's right.
Another beautiful nugget.
I think it is another beautiful nugget, because that's exactly right. I know as a child, I wasn't taught how to protect myself. So and I'm just reading a lot more about trauma. So I want to bring that into my work that I'm doing as well. And that's another topic we might talk about, possibly why you didn't. I know for me now, looking back, one of the reasons I was possibly not meant to have children. I'm still working through that, but now I've gone completely blank what I was going to say. Oh, but yes, we don't know how to protect ourselves, like you said. I didn't know how to protect myself, and that belonging was too great to underneath. Whereas now, I just go, okay, it looks good. Does it feel good?
Right. Yes, exactly right. Yeah, I was just speaking of that with a friend today. That exact thing. Tune into your body. Just take a moment.
Yes,
it just takes a second. Take a moment. Tune into your body. Take a breath. And ask whatever that question might be.
Yes.
And your body always has the answer.
It does. It does. Exactly right. And I think, again, when I'm doing more on trauma, I realized I didn't know how to connect with my body, because my body was so traumatized that I didn't know how to connect with my body. I didn't know how to listen. It didn't even know how to tell me. And that's been another huge, powerful experience for me to understand that. So that all comes in for me, that sense of not belonging. I didn't know how to belong to myself. I didn't know even how to belong to my body, because I was here. All I did was I worked from here, but not from here. So I was completely cut off from my body. So I didn't even belong to my body, or it, or my beautiful temple body. She didn't belong to me.
And how many are out there that are the exact same? So I truly believe this is a conversation that we're going to be delving in.
I think so.
A whole lot more. This is just the top layer, if even that.
Oh, look, I agree with you.
I think that this is the conversation we need to have.
Yeah. And I think yes. So I agree with you. So I think women, for those of you who are women without children, if you'd love to join our Facebook group, do. It'll be in the links below. For those of you who aren't, if you'd like to connect with us anyhow, please do. And we want to keep these conversations happening. We eventually want to grow our reach, but for now we're staying with this. To be honest, for me, is to keep it manageable, because I get so excited. I can again overdo it and then lose it, and then, you know, bomb out. So
we're trying to keep it short and sweet.
That's exactly right. Because I think you and I, as we know, we could quite easily keep going. So, oh, wow. Thank you, Tracey. Thank you for also holding this space.
Thank you, Chantal.
Yeah, you know, it's really important. So what I'm thinking is, at the end, we always do this as a little bit of the end. I think now, do you feel there's anything else you'd like to add to this, Tracey, before we?
No, I think we had two beautiful nuggets there. I think that's perfect to leave with that wisdom right there. And if you like what we have to say, we will leave a link below this video as to how and where you can join our group, Women Without Children Own Your Story. Chantal and I both will have links as to how you can reach out to us and connect with us if you like. And please like and subscribe. We'd love to have you following us.
Yes.
And with that, we'll pass it back to Chantal.
Thank you. And also do leave comments, because this is what it's all about. Yes. And sometimes it takes courage to leave a comment, but this might be the place to start. So we always like to end on drawing a card, and I love these ones. They're very simple. The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer. And let's just see what lovely little extra nugget we can get today. Take no offense. That which offends you only weakens you. Being offended creates the same destructive energy that offended you in the first place. So transcend your ego and stay in peace. And I think for me, what comes up for me, that which offends only weakens you. I think it does. When I didn't have a sense of belonging and owning myself and owning my story, you know, I could easily, because I was so sensitive and tender, I could easily get offended. Doesn't mean I still can't. So I'm still, but that was what a lovely way to end.
Yes, it was. And I can see that was very true for me as well. So that was a perfect card to end with.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tracey. Until next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.